talk today about basically the coaching industry in general. I have so much to say, and I'm so excited to get to share this with you today. I feel like this is a conversation that I've been having behind the scenes a lot. I feel like it's a long time coming, and so I just want to share it with all of you. Thank you, guys. Hey, Emma. Yes, we are totally staying safe. It's, like it's one of those things where we're like used to it in a way because I've lived in Florida for so long, but this one definitely is closer than I think we've maybe ever experienced. So it does feel a little funny in that way, but we are, I think we're as prepped as we can be. We're in a good position. We feel prepared. One of my girlfriends, her baby was born like 3 days before Bennett, and they have to evacuate because they're in an evacuation zone. And she brought over like a shit ton of breast milk this morning for us to keep in our freezer. Like there's just all the things. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I'm even sharing that, but just saying, like, I feel like we've prepped, we've done the things, we're prepared, everyone's helping each other. Like it feels good. I think we're going to be fine. And hopefully, we'll ride it out without losing power, but we'll see. If y'all want to send me good vibes for not losing power though, I greatly appreciate that because I'm get a little too hot to not have AC. Thank you, Michelle. Oh, very exciting. Big changes, Claire. Hey, Julianne. Okay, awesome. So maybe this will align, maybe it won't. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about like the evolution of things for a second. Oh, I do want to say too, remember if you comment, you're entered to win a $100 gift card this week, just as a thank you for coming. You can spend your time anywhere. I'm also very long-winded, so the fact that you spend it here and engage for even part of this is so amazing. I'm so grateful. Yes, we are in a good spot. Thank you for the vibes. Michelle said, oh yes, breast milk, not hurricane related, but when our fridge died, oh, I had to take some breast milk to our neighbor's house. They still have it. It's been a month. Too funny. Got to store it wherever you can, right? Okay, so just the evolution, something that I want to point out, and it's like not necessarily good or bad, but I think it's worth talking about, which is like, so I started in this industry 7 years ago. And one of the major things that I have seen change, which is both a really good thing in some ways and a really not so good thing in some ways, again, kind of like not necessarily just one or the other, is how much the goals or the benchmarks have changed. So like when I first started 7 years ago, like most people's goal was to make like 5K a month. Like that was like the benchmark almost, right? It was what people were marketing to, what people were really excited about. Then it became like 100K or 10K per month, right? And again, I think like also kind of made a lot of sense in that, that was almost like the amount I feel like that was like, okay, with after like taxes and team and whatever, like you can really have a pretty exceptional income from that. You're making 120K a year, you're taking home 6 figures, maybe after like some expenses, different things like that, right? So again, made sense, right? Like building this business to like really support your life and all of the things. But I feel like what's now happened is that the benchmark just keeps moving, right? Where now it's like, people don't even just want 100K months. Like everyone wants to be like, I want $1 million month, right? And what's so cool about that is it tells me that our industry is expanding, that we have a much bigger market than we've had before, that like new people are coming into the space every day. Like that's really cool. And the dark side of that is that the benchmarks and expectations are just so insane right now that everyone doing less than that tends to feel bad about themselves. And I think this industry has kind of started to breed a lot of like, if you're not here, there's something wrong with you kind of stuff. Or like, if you're just building a business because you want to like live a great life and you're not trying to hit like these massive markers, like something's wrong. And quite honestly, like this is probably not like the popular thing to say in the money mindset space, but for me, I feel like it helps me have a rock solid money mindset. Is like, nobody needs that much fucking money. And it's not about creating how much money you need necessarily, but it's about making sure that you're doing it because it's actually your goal and not because the industry keeps moving benchmarks and you feel like you have to keep chasing them. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it is wild that I've been doing this for 7 years. It's crazy. Very like so grateful to that for that. But it is wild to think about. Lisa said my goal right now was 5K a month and I officially hit it this month. Yes. And I'm super proud. And also feel in the online space, it's such an underrated goal and can even feel small. Exactly, which is such bullshit, right? Michelle said, I feel like the coaching industry is taking on some weird MLM vibes. Not sure how to fully articulate that, but lots of big promises about things. Not that it's not possible, but there's something kind of weird about it. I agree, Michelle. We can talk about that. Yeah, celebrating you, Lisa. Claire said, oh, so good, Kim. Kim and I were talking about this piece for my podcast today. So cool, Claire. Yeah, so like, the evolution has just gotten crazy. And again, like, I think it's really good in a sense because like our industry continues to expand. The fact that like people are able to make more and more money in our space because more and more people are coming into the space is obviously great. Like the more people getting coaching, the better in a sense, right? But also, sorry, a giant knot in my hair. But also in a sense, like it really can make it feel like even these like normal, not even normal, I shouldn't even say that. Even these like great goals of like 5K, 10K, whatever, are like getting brushed aside as if they're kind of like nothing. And I think it makes it really hard for people to actually enjoy their businesses because the benchmark keeps moving, right? Like again, when I started like making six figures, it was like, holy shit, like people were blown away by people making six figures in their coaching business. And now it's like, I should be making like multiple seven. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's just, again, it's not like you can't want what you want, but I also think like we rarely check in. It almost feels like seven figures has become like the baseline normal that you like have to be hitting to be like considered successful or something. And I just fundamentally disagree with that so much. Like number one, unnecessary. Number two, that's not how the market works. Like there are going to be businesses at each level in any market, and being okay with that and making them all right, as opposed to everyone is wrong if it's not here, is really, really important. Jennifer said, and what happened to being excited about side gig income? Right. Super happy and grateful for what the additional income can do for me and my family while having the stability of a day job. Amen, Jennifer. I think that totally used to be a thing that's like so not a thing anymore. Right. Okay. I already love this conversation. We're only 11 minutes in. Oh, it's 1:11. So cool. 11 minutes at 1:11. Perfect. So glad you're loving it. Oh, hey, Charmaine. So happy to have you here. So yeah, I think that part of it has gotten a little toxic, right? And also the part of it that says something's wrong if you can't build a business to that level has really gotten toxic, I think, versus like Jennifer just made a great point. Like it used to be kind of like, oh my gosh, if you're making like side income, like amazing. Like how cool is that? How epic. And now it's almost like, well, when are you leaving? How soon can you scale? Like I'm so over the word scale in our industry. I could literally like never talk about it again. Not because I don't help my clients scale, but because the terminology, I go through these phases, by the way, guys. I used to absolutely fucking hate the word alignment and I've come back around to it. I'm over the word scale right now. But because it's like this idea of like nothing's good enough unless you have a business where you can funnel gazillions of people through and make, millions and millions of dollars. And if you don't, there's a problem. And again, I think our industry has just lost the plot a little bit in this, where like the whole point of most of this was so we could build businesses based on things we love and based on doing work we love and make great income doing it, and not kind of like be, beholden to like a corporate environment and stuff. But this idea that like, and you have to be chasing these super, super high numbers, or like you shouldn't be a business coach or something like that. It's just asinine to me. Elisa said, and also money is great and we all love overflow, but happiness and fulfillment is so much more than revenue goal. I'd rather have 5K months in a biz that I love than 10K months in a biz that I hate. Exactly my point, right? And I know that it can seem like, oh, it's easy for you to say that because you're making seven figures. Fair, right? Fair point. But also it took me 6 years to do that. And the reason I was able to make seven figures is because I stayed in business doing something I love long enough to get there. So if I had made myself wrong at every step along the way for not being a coach who was making seven figures, I would have just quit a long time ago and I never would have made it. But what I can tell you is those years have been some of the best years of my life, in large part because I had such a fun job and fulfilling business. And so I think we just have to get back to that conversation a little bit more. And I think that that's some of the evolution I've seen in our industry where that's really changed. I also think another piece that I've seen that I'm sure this is going to be like slightly controversial, but we're just going to say it, which is like people just aren't really running businesses anymore. I think in large part in certain sectors of our industry where it's more like about how can you just throw as much stuff out there as possible, make as much money as possible, as fast as possible, and like basically just almost like mindset your way there and just make as much as you can as fast as you can without like really thinking about like business principles and foundations and stuff like that. And listen, I'm all about mindset your way to anything you want all day long. But I think this like mentality of like almost like building businesses like without team and structure and like actually thinking about it like a business is getting really, really, really harmful in our space too, because I feel like it's just this like we're not building businesses. We're building like how we're creating like just how fast can I create a ton of cash. And what I think that does is not only does it burn people out, but I think it also really does a disservice to our industry because I think it's hard to deliver really great service and value when that's how you're operating. And I think we've kind of gotten away from the idea that like our businesses are really built to deeply serve the humans and like solve a problem, right? And I think we've almost gotten into this idea of like the only thing my business is built to do is make me as much money as it can, as fast as it possibly can. And like running a business like that doesn't equal long-term sustainability. I feel like you can like study like plenty of big businesses who have tried to grow with that mentality in mind and it never works and it always backfires. And so, yeah, you could run at it, throw out a million offers, get as many people to pay you money as you can. But if you're not going to serve those people really, really, really well, it's going to be hard to keep doing that because eventually, like, you're going to burn through enough people that have enough experiences of not getting served really well that your business is not sustainable long term and that you really, number one, are burned out yourself, and number two, have burned out your audience. And I think like we don't want that to happen in our space, honestly, because that really gives the coaching space kind of like a bad name and a bad vibe when like that doesn't have to be how it is, right? Charmaine said, so true. I feel the genuine passion for building a business to help serve our people is frowned on. It feels like most multi 6 and 7 figure coaches who are making the most noise are just desperate to share the 6-figure days and weeks than actually care about their people getting results, right? And it's not to say you can't get amazing results and help your clients get results. And I know that's not what you're saying either, Charmaine, but I think it's like, are you just focused on the results you're getting, or is that trickling down to making sure that that helps you better focus on the results your people are getting? Because those are very different things. I totally agree. Thank you, Claire. Such an important conversation. Right. It's just not sustainable. Maheen said, yes. And I think that people aren't focused on the delivery of value serving people. Right. Exactly. Like if you're taking in a ton of money, like what is the value you're exchanging for that? And are we thinking about that in our space? Like, I don't just want to like make 100K. I want to give 100K of value. And how are we like making that the thing instead of like what it seems like to me, we've gotten to a point where it's almost like, how can I make the most and give the least? And like the businesses that, are kind of like out there sharing like these big numbers, it feels like that's kind of the goal sometimes. And again, this is not to say across the board. I'm just saying that like, I think that we're bordering on this territory in some ways of like, the goal is like make the most, give and work the absolute least. And like, I think there's a balance to that, but I think the further those things pull apart from each other, more, less giving, like the more we're running into sustainability issues and issues where our industry starts to be a place that people find it difficult to trust and spend money in, right? Oh my God, yes, I've been thinking a lot lately about the coaching industry and how we all have a responsibility to elevate the space. Exactly. We really do. We all have a responsibility to have these conversations to elevate it, and everything we do impacts the industry as a whole, right? Michelle said, yes, I totally felt that pressure of like success looks like be in your business as little as possible and make a ton of money doing this. Exactly. Which like 100% have balance and don't overwork and burn out, but like there's a fine line there to like just stop serving your people, right? Rita said, I just got asked to sit on a panel about the coaching industry, talking about two related items to these thoughts: entrepreneurship versus contractor versus freelancer, the true difference in mindset necessary, and FTC rules regarding marketing. Yeah, the FTC rules regarding marketing are getting very fucking interesting in our space too. Conversation for another day, I think, Rita, but very, very interesting. I hope you have a lot to say about that. I'm excited to hear about that. Isn't make the most and give the least created by ourselves, talking about our jobs and the freedom we now have? Yeah, totally. And listen, I think there's a balance there, right? I think with everything, there's like a gray area in between these kind of like very black and white things. Like I think there's like the work yourself into the ground and overgive and burn out, right? Which we don't want that. Then I think there's also like a make the most, give the least. And I think we all want to kind of fall somewhere in the middle, right? Lisa said, I put in an hour of client care on my calendar each day on top of coaching calls and Boxer time, which is my space to think each day about how to deliver that wow factor. And this changed everything in my business. Oh, I love that. Claire said, I love working. It's like the industry wants to make that wrong. Exactly. Yeah, Charmaine said, yes, it feels like you need to be sharing bath photos and making as much money while doing nothing. I know you don't have to work hard to make money, but there is nothing wrong with actually working and providing great value for the exchange of money our clients invest with us. Totally. It's an exchange. Like that's even, Charmaine, you like brought up another point for me. I feel like there's this whole conversation happening in our industry about like clients not using, their sessions. Like someone on Instagram asked me recently in a DM, like, oh, but do your clients actually like use all of their sessions? And I did a client lesson on it recently because I was like, yeah, they fucking do. That's the exchange. Like this idea that someone should pay me and not use our sessions or not take the value from it is really fucked and crazy, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion. Like even if you're just coming to a session to like celebrate the shit out of yourself and it's not that you like need something or whatever, like our exchange is that you're paying for that session. So for me to think that you should still pay me for it and not use it is like, what? Love the client care hour. Katrina, I totally lost your comment. I'm so sorry. It disappeared so quickly. If you could repaste it, I would appreciate it, but totally okay if you can't. Wow, haven't heard that one. Yeah. Yes, we do want to fall into the middle, and we can fault our conversation about our freedom for creating this cult of money only focused, only behavior of folks in the industry. Yes, totally get it. Also, the woo aspect of this drives me crazy. You just have to manifest it. Right. Listen, all about manifesting here. Had a whole happy thoughts program on manifestation, and like very much believe in like real business principles and the things that come with that. Like for me, like manifestation includes action, and it includes like how we are approaching that action and what energy versus just this idea of like, if you're not making $1 million because you haven't manifested it yet, right? I love jacked up passion, amazing reach. Thank you, Michelle. Rita said, I had a client today feeling really badly because she's been in business 3 months and isn't making 5K yet because of what she sees other people saying, crazy, about how they make money in their business. We had to reconnect with what's not being talked about, the behind the scenes work, and also the danger of comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's 3rd book in a series. Perfectly said, Rita. Yeah. Like this is the thing, right? It's like, we're all getting so wrapped up, I think, in some of what we're seeing the front end of that we don't know the behind the scenes of, which is a whole other conversation too. I wrote a post on recently, I'll hopefully will share soon, but I'm feeling very fiery about that lately too. And all the like number falsification. Again, I will not get into that today, but like, what the fuck? But yeah, I think it's just really gotten to a point where we feel like it's just about the money. And like it is in some ways, right? Like to operate a successful business, you need to be making profit. To stay in business, you need to be making profit. To pay for your life and your family and the things you need and have like all that you want, you have to be making profit. So like, yes, let's give it a focus. And when it's the only focus, we actually miss out on the fact that like what actually takes us there long term, what gives us long-term profit, right? It's also absurd that sometimes people want to manifest their way to fully confident in their offers, but they overlook to actually care and put time and energy into their offers instead of only marketing. I was thinking about that too, Lisa. I so agree. Katrina said other comment was just reiterating the difference between burnout, overwhelm, do less, and not providing value, do less. No. Oh, yes, exactly. Big difference. I totally agree with you. And I think we have to hold the nuance of that. But I think what our space does is kind of pull them apart. Michelle said, oh, yes, not here for the manifestation combo that says you're creating the lack in your business, because it also translates to you're causing your infertility, you're causing your miscarriages. And I'm so not here for any of that. I could rant on this so much. Yes. And I'm also so about the woo and manifesting when it blames lack on the human. I'm not here for that. Totally. So love that, Michelle, and great tie in there. Charmaine said, yes, some high profile coaches are bitching about their clients actually using their sessions and sending out shaming posts. Like just because you have Voxer doesn't mean you need to use them. And just because you have sessions, you should lead yourself and not feel like you need to come to your sessions with a list of questions to be answered. I feel so sorry for the women they are calling out. I have not heard that, but that is bananas. I mean, I've heard some versions of that, right? But like the exact things you said is like, right. But it's like, don't we have jobs because our clients have questions? Like, don't we have jobs because our clients want to use Voxer? Like, it's mind bending to me. I can't. And like, absolutely lead yourself. Like, I think to me, my clients are leading themselves when they come to a session with questions because they are figuring out what's going on in their business and they're bringing me context around that. I think, you're leading yourself by using your coach as much as possible, in my opinion. And I don't mean like necessarily like you should be like giving them like diary updates 5,000 times a day and like not able to self-regulate and whatever. But I think like for me, the clients that I see create a ton of success is because they come to our space and use me a lot. Julia Wells and I have talked about this a lot in some of the podcasts we've done together. It's like, her growth was so related to when she just started being like, here's all my fucking shit. I'm going to tell you all of it. I'm going to tell on myself. I'm going to bring it. And like, that's when the growth started to take off even more because she just got the support, yeah, so wild. It's like being amazing at job interviews and only focusing on that when the company expects you to actually show up and do the work. And you're like, what? Oh my God, Elisa, that's hysterical. And like the best analogy ever. Trina said, also, don't we coach because we believe in coaching and want to help our clients? So confusing to me when someone complains about coaching when they literally chose to do this. Exactly. Rita, I want to sell without selling and work without working and coach without coaching. Lacey, when will you help me? I'll get on that. Rita, turns out I have a program for that and you only have to pay me $100,000 to join it. What do you think? No, I'm kidding. Being self-led for me is about taking personal responsibility and being solution focused, and sometimes figuring out a solution means processing things as my coach. This whole hire support, but don't use it. Not here for that. Exactly. Just don't hire it. If the goal is to not use it, just don't use it. You know what I mean? So another thing that I've seen change in our space, and I want to talk about this for a second too, but because I could rant about that all fucking day, is like, so we talked about like the changes in like 5K, 10K, 100K, a million. Another change that's really occurred is like the types of offers. I think I wrote this down because I was trying to think about it. So for me, when I started, like one-on-one was pretty popular. Then it was courses, then masterminds. Now I feel like small offers are like really, really super popular in our industry. And like, again, none of that's wrong, but I think what happens is that everyone feels like they have to change their business model based on kind of like, what's the thing of the moment? And like, if you're not doing the thing of the moment, like you have the wrong business or the wrong model. And like, I've just seen those change so much. Like, I feel like courses used to be vastly more popular than they are now. I think that turned a lot. I feel like masterminds used to be a lot less popular. And then all of a sudden they became like the fucking thing. I feel like people used to say that people wouldn't buy small offers. And now it's like the big thing is to have a small offer. I feel like people used to only want like signature programs or signature courses that were like your entire framework. Then I feel like it went to like never do that, only have like really small targeted things. Like it just changes a ton. And so what I wanted to say about that is like what your role in this can be if you want to create a business that feels really good to you is not to go with those, but just to know that things are always cyclical and always come back around. And like, yes, you can like be smart in business and see what the market's responding to and make iterations in your business if and when that feels good. But trying to run a business that jumps with all of these is going to make you effing insane. And it's going to make you burn out and just stop. And like, honestly, the reason most of my clients have the results they have is because they didn't stop. And so, not letting the industry changing make you jump from offer to offer to offer and thing to thing to thing is so important. Let me look at comments before and I'll come back to that. Oh, thank you, Lisa. This just made me think of the Reliant case on this week, the trend, right? That's how it feels, right? Yeah, and it all comes back like that. Oh my God. I don't want low rise jeans to come back, but yes, I hear you. Seems so unfair that we just had babies when that's coming, huh, Michelle? Elisa said, so true. I discovered over the last 4 years to just pay attention to what lights me up and what I actually want to do long-term. Exactly. Like it is so easy to get so caught up in like, what's the thing of the moment? And the thing of the moment will constantly change. Like what I do think in terms of like, what do I see coming? I do think people are gravitating way more back to one-on-one right now, or are starting to. I think small offers is really a thing as well right now, but I think people are kind of boomeranging back to that idea of wanting way higher touch and a little bit more one-on-one. And that will probably last for a period of time and then it will move on again, right? But say you hate one-on-one and you see things shifting back to that and you try to do that. Well, guess what? Are you going to run a business for 7 months that you hate just because that's sort of like the direction the tide is flowing? No, like your opportunity or all of our opportunity is to ride it out with the thing we love. And again, with the type of money that we want to make and not feeling pressure just to make a certain amount. But like for me, through all of those iterations, I've stayed really connected and focused on one-on-one. That's always been my thing. So cool. It hasn't kind of been like in to have one-on-one in a long time. Maybe it's coming back around to that and I'll kind of be like hip for a moment and that's cool too. But like what I've really done is just said, like, this is what I love. And so the people that want that are going to find me. And so I really just wanted to say that too with your business. Like I so encourage you to do that. I think if you haven't been in this industry long enough to see all of those shifts, it's easy to think like, oh, the entire industry is just changing and I have to go with it or I'm going to be left behind. And that's not true. What happens is the industry always changes. And to not be left behind, what you want to do is figure out what do you love enough to stay in it and to talk about as it relates to all of these other things. So when like courses were the fucking thing, like I was always talking about like why I thought one-on-one was like far superior to that. And that served me really well. Like, and I will always do that. Do you know what I mean? And if one-on-one is the thing at the time, great, then I'll sell that too, but not because it's the thing, but because it's the thing I want to do. So just wanted to remind you of that too. Like you're always going to have buyers when you're obsessed with your offer. When you're changing your offer all the time because you think it's what you're supposed to do, it's going to be much harder to find buyers because one, everyone's going to change to that thing. And two, if you don't have the energy behind it, it's not going to translate as well. Another great example of this is like even marketing trends. Yeah, totally. I don't want low-rise jeans back. Yes. Neither do I at all. Another thing with that too, though, is like, even like, I feel like Facebook groups are that, like, there have been so many ups and downs with that over the years that I've been running this where like, it was the only thing that was cool. Then it was like, they're dead. Then it was like a resurgence. Then it was kind of like they're dead again. And now I'm hearing so many people having conversations around Facebook groups again and how they're a thing. Whatever, like ride it out. If I really like having a Facebook group, personally, I think there's like nothing that builds and sustains community better on the internet than a Facebook group right now. Might that change? Sure. If I ever decide that I don't believe that, then I'll make a change. But I never made the change when someone said they were dead, because that was never the case for me, because I really liked it and I kept showing up, you know? Michelle said I was weary of hiring one-on-one coaches for a while because of this. I was always worried they pivot with the trend. I want someone that was actually passionate about one-on-one. Grateful I found you. Oh, thank you, Michelle. But yeah, totally. Like, it's kind of back to what we were talking about before. Like, we want to see the person we're hiring loving what they're doing. Like, we don't want to see them being like, don't use Boxer, or I'm pivoting because I don't actually want to do this thing, or, you know, I'm only doing this thing for money, not because I also enjoy it. Like, there's such a difference, I think, between like, does someone like love the work they're doing, or are they good at marketing? It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like, you can be good at marketing 20 offers, but like, are you good at delivering on those 20 offers? Those are just entirely different skill sets and things. I mean, ideally we're good at both in our business, but like, let's not pretend that that's even close to the same thing, because it's not. And that's another change I see coming in our industry. I think there's going to be a little bit of like a reckoning with that. You know, I think people are going to start speaking up more and more about the quality of programs and the service that they're receiving. And I think that there's going to be a bit of a recalibration around that. And I think people are going to start expecting to actually get the things they're paying for, and actually have great delivery on the programs they're in. So I really, really think that that is something we're going to see shift too. Michelle said, I'm also all for pivoting when it feels aligned, but not just to do what the people are telling you to do to chase money kind of thing. Like you've always said, that doesn't create long-term sustainability. Exactly. And I think that that's really something that is going to come around in our industry. Like, are we focused so much on the marketing and shifting, or are we actually focused on what gets my client great results? This is something I'll tell you guys, like, this has been a personal experience. It does not have to be yours, but I have never really been a huge marketer to a certain extent. Like, I don't show a lot of my life. I don't show flashy things. Like, you guys don't know what car I have or what purses I have. I'm like happy to share all of that. It's not like I'm like, I would never tell you what kind of car I have, but I'm just saying, like, that's not part of my brand. That's never been part of my marketing. Like, that's just not like my thing. And that's not to say it's bad if it is. Like, I don't have anything against that. Just personally for me, that's never just been how I related or operated. What my business has grown based on is my clients' results, not even my own, because there was a very long time in business where my clients had bigger results than I had, and still do, actually. I don't know why I said there was a time. But like, a lot of my clients still make way more money than me. Oh, it's okay, Michelle, totally fine. So like, that's a whole thing. But their results are what my business has been built on. And that's why we have such long-term sustainability. That's why I can sit here and say to you, here's what I've seen over 7 years, right? Elisa said I landed on focusing only on one-on-one. Oh shoot, I lost it. Only on one-on-one. Now everyone wants to know what kind of car I have. So funny. Yes, I'm happy to tell you I have a Tesla. Michelle, I think probably because you saw me, I'm assuming, when we met up. But yes, I do have a Tesla and I love it. And it's amazing. I especially love it with the idea of a hurricane coming, because I can charge my phone in it. Thank you, Julianne. If I marketed like that, it would be like, look at this one pair of flip-flops I'm burning to the ground. So funny, read it. So true. Right. But again, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just this idea of like, that's not like, I don't have pictures on the Tesla. You know what I mean? Although it's pretty, it's black, it has black rims. I'm very into it, but it's just not my thing. But again, it's been built on client results. And so I think, like, sure, I could market like that. And have the ability to, I guess, right? It's just not necessary because my client results speak for that, right? think you mentioned that I was saying I landed on focusing only on one-on-one in the membership, and I'm creating and feels so amazing in my body to just focus on 2 long-term offers. I love that. I maybe said unhappy thoughts. That could be totally. I can't remember shit to save my life, but I remember shit like this. So why? It's so funny. Yes, it's about being in integrity with who you really are. Exactly. But and even that though, like for me, like I really do like nice things. So it's not like not an integrity for me to like have them or use them or whatever. It's just not how I've ever marketed really. Like I've just never had to or really thought about it like that. And again, not that there's something that's wrong with that, but the point I wanted to make there is like that all can go away in an instant. What doesn't and what creates long-term sustainability is you delivering on offers that are actually really impactful to your people. And I think our industry has just gotten so fucking far away from that. And I think that's going to start coming around because we're delivering less value potentially at way higher prices. And so this is something else that I want to say in terms of like prediction here. Well, I'll say that in a second. So anyway, we're delivering less value at way higher prices, and there will just be a reckoning with that. Like industries don't survive doing that for too long. Things adjust. I'm not like a person that's like the coaching bubble is going to burst. That I don't think that, but I do think there are going to be market corrections for sure. And one of those corrections that I believe in is that I think we're going to have a bit of a recalibration, correction, however you want to say that, when it comes to pricing in our space. I really, really feel like this will come. I'm not saying it's going to be in the next like 2 months or something like that, but I do think it's going to come. I'm so dead. My friend's dog chewed her Balenciaga, so that stuff goes away for sure. It sure does. Oh my God, that's so funny. One of my clients was just telling me the other day that her daughter drew with marker all over her, I can't remember. It was probably like a Louis Vuitton bag or something like that. But it's like, yeah, that stuff is like not the thing. And also, to be honest, like, oh, this is going to sound really bad to say. Do I want to say it like this? I'm like, do I mean to say it like this? But like, we can show like a purse or something and say like a purse costs $2,000. Obviously, that's like an extraordinary amount of money for a handbag, whatever. But like, that doesn't necessarily indicate to me that you're making millions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that vibe in our industry is so off too. Like, it's not that hard to look like you have money. And it's like, it's just not that hard to look like you have money, I guess is what I want to say. And so like, that doesn't, for me, that's just never been like the attractive factor in marketing because I don't think it really shows much. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm already seeing that price shift in some places. Totally feel that and would love to hear more your thoughts on on it. Yes. Thank you, Jess. Totally agree. Right. Like, yeah, it's not it for me. Although again, like I have some nice handbags and I like that. It's just for me, like, I don't think showing you one of those really like speaks to anything. Jess, I think you agree because I think you've created a lot of like wealth in different ways and like other income streams and stuff like that. And where it's like, it's much better for it to go into that for you than like whatever, a handbag. And again, nothing wrong with handbags, love them, but it's just like, there is a different vibe, right? Yep, I know coaches out there who make it seem like they're above where they're at just to market. Exactly. And I think that's super normal in our space right now, like really normal, which is such a problem. Yes, Jess said exactly all of that is unseen. Yep. So relieved that I did it this way. So you should too, has shifted as this was the worst. Yes, totally. Okay. So pricing, correction. So I feel like I've had this conversation with, like several clients recently, and definitely like a lot of my clients that are making 7 figures. And I've been having these conversations even, but like that pricing has just gotten outrageous in our space a little bit. Just got an idea for an email. Perfect. Hey, Katie, happy to have you. I also see so many false information and BS. And I think we as a coaching industry have to be careful to distance ourselves from those practices. Agree. That harms all of us. Totally. Hey, Nikki. Okay, perfect. Yes. So pricing correction. I've been talking to a lot of clients. I was saying like even some of my 7-figure clients that pricing has just gotten outrageous in our space. And listen, I want to balance this conversation by saying, like, I'm not saying don't charge what feels good to you. For example, my revenue share caps at 20K a month. In some ways, it's like interesting that I decided to cap it, because a lot of my clients were actually surprised when I did that. And they were kind of like, oh, I didn't think you were ever going to cap it. And it just felt good to me. I'm like, I want to cap it. And like, I want to not just act like this is like an endless thing where like you could be paying me like $100,000 a month or something like that. But also, of course, $20,000 is an insane amount of money. And so technically a client could be paying me $240K a year. So I wanted to like share that balance of this conversation where I'm not necessarily just saying like I have a super low cost product and I think everyone else should, like obviously my service costs an incredible amount of money, but on the flip side, like my base rate's $1,250 a month. So like there's balance there, but I think that we're just getting to a point where like pricing in our industry has just gotten insane and unsustainable. Like I think that yeah, Nyquil just said, yeah, it's like, oh, I felt a vibe. So I'm charging $22,222 for this group program now. That's what I'm talking about. That stuff is unsustainable. And what happens is someone will pay that because they really think there's like a magic secret. And then they realize there's not. And they're really like super negatively impacted by that. And I think that super negatively impacts our industry and goes back to the conversation of like, are we delivering value? And then also, is what we're charging synonymous with that value? Like, I'm not saying don't charge your worth. I'm just saying like, actually make sure it's worth it. Like that part in our industry is going to craft. I know some of my clients are even like, I don't want to raise my prices anymore. Or like, maybe I'll even lower the price on this program. Like they're really in a place of just being like, I am not super into this idea of just charge as much as you can for the sake of it at any point. Yeah, pay me $100K a month just to be in my energy. Right. Totally. Allison, so the way it works is, clients pay a base rate and then a revenue percentage. And so the way that it works with revenue percentage is it's 10% of new revenue generated through our work together up to $20,000 a month. So like say one of my clients was making $300K a month, they would still only pay me $20,000. They wouldn't pay me 30. So like we just cap at 20 no matter what. Yeah, Rita lowered her prices, right? Like I think there's just something to be said for the fact that like people are like, does this even make sense at a certain point? And again, I don't think that like this is a case for everyone go lower your prices or anything like that, but I do think it's a case for we're going to really start finding more of a balance in terms of like what we're seeing it be worth. You know what I mean? Okay, gotta hop off. Enjoy your class. Yes. Can you speak to, oh, Allison, I think your question cut off, but if you want to type it again, like happy to speak to whatever it is there, but yeah. So anyway, I think that that's something else we're going to see where it's not just about like, how much can you get someone to pay you once, it's about like, how great is the service you're delivering where they get to, want to pay you more and again, and aren't just kind of like trapped after this one investment because it was so big, right? Speak to the charging lower prices, i.e. 222 for a 2-day mini course. Does this undervalue me? I think it totally depends on like what the course is for or what the outcome is, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't think it undervalues you necessarily at 222. But I think like, check in with what you feel like the value is and does that line up? And then also if you want to charge $222, but you feel like the value is much greater, I would just put that in your marketing. Katie said, I did too and felt amazing when I did. So good. Hi from South Africa. Hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. So I think that that's another thing we might see. Like, I really think that people are going to get burnt out enough on this idea of like, it always has to be like the most expensive thing, because I think what our brains do, and I think this is sort of the point that Allison's asking here, is what our brains do is we associate price with value. Right? like, oh, these jeans are $200, so they must be better than these jeans that are like $40 or whatever. We associate price with value. And I think we do that in our space a lot. But that doesn't always ring true here. And oh, I don't want to miss these comments. It doesn't always ring true here. And so, like, yes, you don't want to completely underprice it because we're associating price with value, but also these like insane prices are not necessarily doing it either. Rita said, I feel good capping my prices. And yeah, others in the industry keep shaming me for it, saying, but you could make more, charge your worth, but my business isn't only about me. For example, I believe in private coaching. I want more people to be able to take advantage of it. And for so many, they're truly priced out of it. So changing my structure around some things feels good for all. Feeling good and doing good is it for me? Yes, totally. Okay, good. Allison, yes. Charmaine said it's all very freaky, and I think there is a big shift coming. For the last few years, it's been shaming the bro marketers. I admit I don't resonate with all their sales tactics, but the good ones are so honest and transparent. Some OGs in the coaching industry and don't charge a fraction of what some of the new era of seven-figure women coaches are charging, right? Totally. Yeah, it all boomerangs. Do you know what I mean? It's like all like over the place. And I think at the end of the day, like, again, where I think we want to land is in the middle. Like, I think it's like the super salesy, icky tactics, or like the super feminine, like don't even like have business structure things. Like, again, these are just like opposite ends of the spectrum instead of like, can we fall in the middle? And again, our industry is always going to change and always go through these evolutions, but like, it's really like, how do you keep your grounding in it? It reminds me of that. Oh my gosh, now I have to look it up. Have you guys heard of that Rudyard Kipling poem, If? Hold on, I'm going to read you the part of it, but this is like what it makes me think of in our industry. It says, like, if you can keep your head up, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or talk too wise. Like, it's this whole poem. It's so good. It's called If. You could look it up. But like that idea of like, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, like that's what this reminds me of. And oh, you used to teach that poem, Jess. I love that. I love that poem so much. I think about that poem like twice a week. But that's what I feel like is the point of this. Like, it's all going to change. It's all going to be all over the place. Can you keep your head in the midst of that? Can you stay like on the path that's best for you? Can you not be swayed by like what's in or what's cool, or like how much you should be making or charging or whatever? Can you figure out what feels best to you? That to me is sustainability. That's how you're going to last in this industry. That's how you're going to build a business you actually like. I could go on and on and on, but like, things are going to change. Again, I think smaller offers are in. I think one-on-ones coming back. I think Facebook groups are making a bit of a resurgence at the moment. I think we're going to have a pricing correction. And I could be wrong about all of this, because who the fuck knows? Just like this hurricane prediction thing that I keep watching nonstop. Like, you know, they're probably wrong half the time, but like, they're still making predictions. But the point isn't that. It's like, are you prepared anyway? And I think the same thing in our industry. It's not like, okay, is the point that like one-on-one really comes back or not? It's just, are you prepared anyway? Right. Oh, I missed that. Where can we find the poem? Let me see if I can just, upload a picture. Let me see if I can do that. It's so good. Oh, nope, that didn't work. I will do it after. Oh, no, but just did it. That's just, yeah, she put the first like paragraph or whatever that I shared. And then, oh, you guys are so good. Thank you, Katrina. Oh my gosh, so good. It's so good. Michelle said, yes, love this message. It's why it's so important to pay attention to whose voices we're letting in our ears. And I think why so many new folks spin out. Yep, 100%, because there's too many voices. Yep. I'm feeling it too, Lacey. I agree with your prediction. That's what happened in the hair and makeup industry. Yeah, totally. And again, like, there's nothing wrong necessarily with any of this. It's just a change. And you don't have to run with any of it. Like, if you still want to charge as much as you want to charge and like deliver in whatever way you want to deliver, like, yes, do it. Right. But it's just to say, like, I think there is like a little bit of a reckoning coming in a really good way, or a correction. I mean, reckoning almost makes it feel bad, correction, whatever. But I think that, like, at the end of the day, remember why you started this, serve your people really, really well, and you can ride these storms, right? Um, being hated and don't give way to hating. I'm crying now. Thanks a lot. Oh, Jess, that's so perfect. It's gonna make me cry too. I love that. Yeah, everyone that's listening to this should go listen or should go read that poem, because I feel like it's like the thing that we are talking about right now. But yes, okay, so I have to go because I have a call at 2. I could go on and on about this forever, as you guys can tell. I'm like quite fired up about this. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of smoke and mirrors right now. I think there always has been, but for whatever reason, it feels on overdrive a little bit in our space right now. Be careful who you're listening to, what you're giving attention to. Be careful who you're listening to if they're not helping you listen to yourself. Yeah, that's kind of the gist I wanted to say. Oh, thank you. We will stay safe. Love you, Claire. Totally resonate. I kept lending my ears to everyone and got nowhere. Now I do what I'm comfortable with. Heck yes. Perfectly said. And okay, beautiful guys. Remember, if you comment, you're entered to win the $100 gift card. I'm sure I will do another version of this soon, because I just want to keep talking about this and having these conversations. So, so grateful to all of you for being part of it. Thank you, Charmaine. Yeah, let's hope these changes come, and let's hope we see this in our industry, and like we stay in an industry that people trust and want to invest in. So love you guys and have a good week. All right, bye y'all.